In the 1840s, off the Massachusetts coast, a man saw a massive whale tail rising from the water. He did not retreat from the sight or hesitate for even a single moment. Despite the obvious death risk, he rowed straight toward it with fierce determination. Behind that tail lay a fortune that could make his entire family wealthy for generations. American whale hunters either gained incredible wealth or drowned with one single harpoon strike. Ships departed from New Bedford and Nantucket harbors, heading toward the vast Pacific Ocean. A typical whaling ship carried 30 men, 4 small hunting boats, and tons of heavy harpoon rope. When the lookout screamed, "Thar she blows!" from above, everyone sprang into immediate action. 6-man boats launched into the water and rowed silently toward the whale without making noise. The harpooner, standing at the bow, threw his weapon when they came within 2 meters. Once the harpoon lodged in the whale, the rope tightened and the whale dragged the boat. Crews called this dangerous and deadly pursuit the famous Nantucket Sleigh Ride across the ocean. This death dance could last 3 to 4 exhausting hours until the whale finally died. Sometimes an enraged whale would turn around and smash the boat completely, throwing men overboard. The survivors hauled the dead whale's oil aboard the ship and worked for weeks processing it. Whale hunters worked under a unique payment system that was called the lay system. A single voyage lasted 2 to 4 long years, and earnings depended entirely on luck. The ship's captain took 1/8 of the total profit, earning roughly $3,000 to $4,000. An experienced harpooner took 1/75 of the profit and earned about $300 to $500. An ordinary crew member took only 1/200th and received between $150 to $250 total. A typical farmer at that time earned $100 to $120 yearly working the land. A crew member earned $200, but only after spending 3 dangerous years at sea. But if no whales were caught during the voyage, 3 years passed with no payment at all. The real wealth lay hidden in a single precious substance called Spermaceti oil from the whale's head. This clear and valuable oil from whale heads was literally worth its weight in gold. Regular whale oil sold for $30 to $35 per barrel in the marketplace. But Spermaceti oil sold for an incredible $120 to $150 per barrel instead. In the 1840s, a single large whale could yield about 500 gallons of pure spermaceti. That meant $3,000 to $4,000 for just one whale alone, which was a massive fortune. Even if a crew member received only his small share of $15 to $20, it multiplied his yearly earnings. So why exactly did New Bedford become America's wealthiest town during that era? In the 1840s, half of the entire world's whaling fleet departed from this one small port. The prosperous town had over 400 whaling ships operating across all the world's oceans. A single successful ship's voyage brought between $30,000 to $50,000 in whale oil profits. This enormous amount of money enriched the town's bankers, merchants, and ship owners tremendously. Whale oil was considered the world's most valuable liquid commodity at that time. Whale hunters had a fascinating tradition called the GAM meeting when ships met at sea. When 2 whaling ships met in the open Pacific Ocean, they pulled alongside each other carefully. Crews crossed between the ships using planks and eagerly exchanged letters from home and loved ones. A single letter could take 2 to 3 years to finally reach families back home. This remarkable system was the world's first international postal network operating on the ocean. During these GAMs, hunters shared valuable information about whale movements and dangerous waters they encountered. But whale hunters held a very strange and contradictory social position in society. On ships, they worked like slaves, and captains had the legal right to whip them brutally. Upon returning to port, however, they brought large amounts of money flowing into the town. New Bedford's tavern owners, tailors, and brothel keepers always awaited their return very eagerly. A crew member could easily spend 3 years' worth of earnings in just 2 to 3 months. Society viewed them as both savage sailors and the town's economic lifeblood at the same time. The strangest tradition was an intricate art called scrimshaw that was carved on whale teeth. Hunters carved incredibly detailed pictures into whale teeth during the long months-long voyages at sea. They carefully etched ships, women, and harbor scenes onto teeth with remarkable artistic detail. Today, a single scrimshaw piece sells for anywhere between $5,000 to $50,000 in museums. Back then, it was simply a pastime to occupy idle hands during endless, boring hours. On these long voyages, this was the only form of entertainment to prevent complete madness. The darkest and most tragic side of whaling was its horrifically high death rate. 3 out of every 10 whale hunters never returned home alive to their waiting families. Whales smashed boats into pieces and threw men into the freezing water to drown. Violent storms sank entire ships, and deadly diseases killed entire crews in the middle of nowhere. The most horrific and famous event happened in 1820 to the whaling ship Essex. A massive enraged whale deliberately rammed and sank the ship in the middle of the Pacific. The surviving crew members drifted for 90 days at sea without any food or water. Extreme starvation forced them to eat each other just to survive the nightmare ordeal. Whale hunters were history's bravest adventurers who faced death every single day of their lives. They bargained with death itself in the middle of the ocean for the chance at fortune. The winners became rich beyond imagination, while the losers touched the ocean floor forever. The massive oil industry we use today actually began with their dangerous harpoons and courage. A whale hunter became either a legend remembered forever or was completely forgotten by history. As we trace the lives long lost to time, continue this journey by subscribing.